105, it says Jiva is impenetrable, invisible, indivisible, indestructible, and eternal. So what does he mean? Que Jiva no nas pamche, right? If we carry on, we'll see. So Muktanand Swami, he says, I guess he had the same question. He says, Evat Samrine Muktanand Swami prasna puchyo je. Hey Maharaj, જીવ તો અવિનાશ કર્યો છે તેનો નાશ તે કેમ જાણો, right? It's indestructible. How can you say the soul destroyed? પછી શ્રીજી મહારાજ બોલ્યા છે પર્વતનું કે બીજું એવું જે કોઈક જડ દેહ આવે તેમાં કોઈક કાળે જીવનું કલ્યાણ થાય નહીં એટલે એનો જીવનો નાશ થઈ ગયો એમ જાણો. What is he saying? He's saying a Jew that attains a judge swarup, such as the body of a mountain, will never attain Kalyan. This should be understood as the destruction of the Jeev. So, Maharaj says that Acharmati koino draw thai, if you offend them some way, then your Jeev can be incarnated into, a body such as a mountain, something like that. It's something. If you really think about it, think about all the leela that God's, that we talk about God. For example, if we take Govardhan Parvat, right? That's a body of mountain. And Krishna Bhagavane એક આંગળીથી ઊંચું કર્યું હતું, right? વૃંદાવનના લોકો વરસાદમાંથી બચાવવા માટે, કારણ કે Indra got upset and he wanted to flood them. So he made it rain on this whole village. And Krishna Bhagavan took this mountain, right? And he lifted it up with one finger. It's one of the reasons why we celebrate Ankur, when we put down basically a mountain of food before God. But if you think about what happened there, he lifted the whole mountain with his finger, and then he put it back down, and that mountain is still there, right? And according to this Vajnamrut, there might be a Jew or many Jews stuck in that body, that mountain, and God himself touched it, lifted it, put it back down, and the mountain's still there. So those Jews, they're still there, and I'm speculating, obviously, I don't know. They could have maybe offended one of those 4 people in their past lives, and maybe they might be stuck in that body. Another example is Nilkanvarni himself, right? He went all over the Himalayas, and then like 9 lakh yoginu kalyan karyu, right? At one time, 9 lakh juda swarup maine, અને એમના પોતાના ચરણાવીને 9 લાખ જગ્યાએ હતા one time, but they're all over the body of the mountain, right? Himalaya ઉપર. તોય Himalayas are still there. Himalayaનું કલ્યાણ થયું નહીં. Whatever Jeeves are there, whoever's in there, whatever Jeeves are there, they're still stuck in that one particular location. If you think about it, right? And according to this, it might be because they have offended somebody from one of the 4 categories that he spoke about. Just something to think about, food for thought. And that Charnavin Mukyata, 9 lakh jagya. Like if you think about it, Bhagwan Jha Raji Tada tar Charnavin Chati upar aapta tha, right? Bhaktone. And we sing it in Chesta also, right? In the evening Chesta. So think about it. He put his feet on all these different locations on this body, the Himalayas, and still those Jeeves are there. Because if the Himalayas aren't destroyed, until they aren't destroyed, those Jeeves are going to be there. They have that form. So something just to think about. એમના like એ જીવના કર્મ કેવા હશે, like from the past lives. Now if we move on to Gadra Antya 12, he goes into a little bit more detail on this particular topic. Antyaનું 12મું વચનામૃતમાં એવું લખ્યું છે કે જેને ભગવાન ને ભગવાનના ભક્તોનું અવગુણ આવ્યું હોય તેના હૃદયમાંથી ક્યારે અસુરી માટી તળે નહીં અને અનંત બ્રહ્મ હત્યા કરી હોય અને અનંત બાલ હત્યા કરી હોય ને અનંત સ્ત્રી હત્યા કરી હોય ને અનંત ગૌ હત્યા કરી હોય ને અનંત ગુરુ સ્ત્રીઓનો સંગ કર્યો હોય તેનો પણ કોઈ કાળે છૂટકો થાય ને શાસ્ત્રમાં તે પાપ છૂટ્યાનું ઉપાય પણ કહ્યું છે પણ ભગવાનને ભગવાનના ભક્તનું અવગુણ લેવાવાળાનો કોઈ શાસ્ત્રમાં એ પાપ છૂટાયનું ઉપાય કર્યો નથી અને ઝેર ખાય અથવા સમુદ્રમાં પડે અથવા પર્વતથી પડે અથવા કોઈક રાક્ષસ મળે ને ખાઈ જાય તો એક જ વાર મરવું પડે અને જે ભગવાનને ભગવાનના ભક્તનો દ્રોહી હોય તેનો તો અનંત કોટી કલ્પ સુધી મરવું પડે ને અવતારવું પડે અને વળી ગમે તેવો શરીરમાં રોગ થયો હોય ને તેને કરીને શરીર પડે અથવા કોઈ સદરૂપ મળે ને શરીરનો નાશ કરી નાખે પણ જીવનો નાશ થતો નથી અને ભગવાનને ભગવાનના ભક્તનો દ્રોહ કર્યાથી તો જીવનો પણ નાશ થઈ જાય છે ભગવાનને ભગવાનના ભક્તનો દ્રોહ કરવો જ નહીં. So he's basically saying the demonic attitude of a person who has perceived Avgun in Bhagwan or his bhaktas is never eradicated from his heart. On the other hand, a person who has killed countless Brahmins or have killed countless children or may have killed countless women or may have killed countless cows or may have even associated many times with the wife of his guru can be freed from these sins at some time or another. In fact, the Shastras even describe methods to do so. So he's saying, you can do, though if you think about those things, he said they're horrible things, right? Killing thousands of, women, children, Brahmins, right? He says even if you do those things, there are ways to, eradicate your sins. There are methods and means. However, no Shastra describes methods to be released from the sin of perceiving Avgun in Bhagwan or his bhaktas. If a person consumes poison or falls into the ocean or falls from a mountain or is eaten by a demon, then he has to die only once. However, a person who insults Bhagwan or his bhaktas has to continuously die and be reborn for countless millions of years. And most the disease leads to the death of the body or an enemy, destroys the body, but the Jew is not destroyed. However, by insulting Bhagwan or his bhaktas, the Jew is also destroyed. So it's a very strong comparison. It gives you an idea of the magnitude of possibly causing harm to Bhagwan or his bhaktas. So, if you think about ways that you can offend, a bhakt of Bhagwan, be many different ways, sometimes it might be unknowingly, and it's something we should, keep into mind. It could be anything, especially like around the kids, like we joke around, we call each other names sometimes, just messing around, but you don't know if that person truly is offended or if he doesn't like it or not. And that's really something to be aware of, because the last thing you want to do, according to this Vachanamrut, is offend somebody who's a bhakt, right? It could be anything. You really have to think personally. You have to think about every action that you take and how it affects the people around you. Like we have this hall around it, so we're here all the time. We're constantly interacting with each other. ગમે તે કોકનો ભૂલમાં દ્રોહ ના થાય એની એટલે એ ખાસ આપણે ધ્યાન રાખવું પડે નહીંતર દ્રોહ થાય તો પછી it can be problematic. And now if we go back to Varta 11 and we continue, ભગવાન says માટે જેને પોતાનું કલ્યાણ ઈચ્છવું તેને એ ચારમાંથી કોઈનો દ્રોહ ના કરવો. અને વાલા ભગવાન કે ભગવાનના ભક્તને આગળ કોઈ પ્રકારે માન રાખવું નહીં. કેમ જે માન છે તે તો ક્રોધ, મત્સર, ઈર્ષ્યા ને દ્રોહ એનો આધાર છે. અને માની હોય તેની ભક્તિ પણ અશુરી કહેવાય. અને ભગવાનના ભક્તને જો બીવડાવતો હોય ને તે પ્રભુનો ભક્ત હોય તો પણ તેને અશુરી કહેવાય. અને અમારો તો એ સ્વભાવ છે જે બ્રહ્માંડનો ને ગરીબનો ને ભગવાનના ભક્તનો કોઈ દ્રોહ કરે તે તો અમને દીઠો જ ગમે નહીં. અને આ લોકમાં ને પરલોકમાં તેને ને અમારે સોબત રહેવાય નથી. So he says, therefore anyone who seeks kalyan should never harm Bhagwan, a bhakt of Bhagwan, a Brahman, and a person who is humble. Also a person should never keep man, which is pride, right? Pride of any sort before Bhagwan or his bhakt. This is because pride is the cause of krodh, matsar, irsha, and slander. In fact, even the bhakti of a person with man is said to be demonic. Moreover, if a person oppresses a bhakt of Bhagwan, then even if he himself is a bhakt, he should be known to be a demon. My nature is such that I hate even the sight of a person who harms a Brahman, a humble person, or a bhakt of Bhagwan. Such a person will never attain my company, either in this lok or in other loks. So he goes from talking about offending someone to talking about pride, because he says pride is pretty much the root. It's what ignites all these things. He says krodh, matsar, irsha, and slander. These are all things that arise from pride. So if we take a deeper look at pride, it can be defined in many different ways. But I'm going to define it, the way I can. One thing about pride is you might say, oh, well, you need a little bit of pride in order to function. And that is true to some extent. We call that self-esteem, right? You need a certain amount of self-esteem. If I don't have enough self-esteem, then I can't be here talking. I would be afraid to talk. I would not be able to do it. So I have a certain amount of self-esteem. We all do. When I used to work with kids, we used to play games with these kids, and we would kind of set the game up so certain kids win, so everybody wins evenly. That way everybody gains a certain amount of self-esteem. But that self-esteem turns into pride when you compare your achievements, your capabilities, your possessions, knowledge with another person. That's when you start comparing, making comparisons, that's when you shift over to the pride side, and it could be over anything. Oh, did you know this? Oh, you didn't know that. How many bedrooms do you have? You have 5, I have 15. It could be anything, possessions, it could be, knowledge, anything, anytime there's a comparison, you kind of want to think about pride. This is something that's very harmful, because once you take these different categories, right, such as possessions, capabilities, knowledge, and you identify yourself with your ability compared to other people, then you're identifying yourself with the body. You're identifying yourself with what you can physically do here, and that's not what we're here to do. And more so, what it does is it causes you to become angry. You know, if you say I can do this better, you know, I can adjust the volume better. If somebody else comes in the way and they do it, you know, and I tell them, nah, I know how to do it better. Let me do it. I could possibly offend that person. I could, you know, get into an argument, and then they'll throw a tie, maybe, you know. So it's very tricky. It's something to look after. Another example would be if you know, we built this place, so we all have some type of pride associated with this place. You know, everybody helped dig for the foundation. You know, everybody decorated the place. You know, the kids helped out with the lights. We did all this stuff. Let's say in the future we have other halls like this, right? In other places, we go visit them, and you know, you walk in and you say, oh, you know, this looks nice, but ours is a little bit better. You know, I worked on this, so you know, this part looks better. You know, this looks better. This shouldn't be right. You know, oh, you guys only have 4 items, we have 6 tonight. You know, anytime you think about making a comparison, that's where you really have to watch out for pride. And this is just my way of understanding pride and expressing it. Of course, there are many other ways that you can describe it and express it. You know, Bhagwan says, અને અમારો તો એ સ્વભાવ છે જે બ્રાહ્મણનો ને ગરીબનો ને ભગવાનના ભક્તનો કોઈ દ્રોહ કરે તે તો અમને દીઠો જ ગમે નહીં અને આ લોક ને પરલોકમાં તેને ને અમારે સોબત રહેવાય નહીં. So if we look back to Bhagwan's time, there was a lady, right, from Machao. Her name was Faiba, right? Machana Faiba. And her and her daughter-in-law, right? They were good devotees of God. They did બહુ ભક્તિ કરતા હતા ભગવાનની. પણ પછી એમને કંઈક ઝઘડો થયો. I don't need to go into the details. તમે લોકો આમે સીરિયલ ઘરે જોતા હોય એટલે you know how that goes. So એટલે ફઈબાને એમની વહુની જોડે આર્ગ્યુમેન્ટ થયું અને પછી એ લોકો બોલવા એકબીજાને જોડે બોલવાનું બંધ કરી દીધું, રાઈટ? અને પછી મહારાજને ખબર પડી એટલે મહારાજ એમને you know, ભેગા કરવા ટ્રાય કર્યું એમને. એટલે એ મળવા ગયા અને ફઈબા અને એમની વહુને કીધું કે તમે લોકો બેવ ભેગા થઈને, you know, put this aside. એટલે એમની વહુ એવું કહેતા હોય કે મહારાજ તમે જે કહો એ કરીશ, you know. અને ફઈબા એવું બોલ્યા કે તમે જે કહેશો એ કરીશ પણ આની જરૂર નહીં સંબંધ રાખો. એટલે પછી ભગવાને કીધું ઓકે, પછી હું તમારા ઘરે ફરતી આવીશ નહીં. That's it. એટલે પછી ફઈબા તો કે ઓકે તમારી ઈચ્છા. ને she left her home. They took different paths, and then what happened after that? Bhagwan completely just, you know, wiped her out. He didn't go back to her house at all. On Amuk Vajnamut, actually, Machama Lakyata, and Bhagwan actually got those. The Santos changed those to Garudas Vajnamut. So that's how you know much he disliked what she did. He completely changed the you know, Machal's Vajnamut to Garudas Vajnamut, and he never went back there again. And then Sriji Maharaj continues. એટલી વાર્તા કરીને પછી શ્રીજી મહારાજ પેર પર ગવરાયા. He told whoever was there to sing these two bhajans, kirtans, and the first one is Mara Hariju Hajisu Hetanadi Sere, Senegere Shid Jaya. And this kirtan, it talks about why should a person even visit the home of a person who has no love for my Lord. And if we take a look at that bhajan, and we compare it with what happened with Faiba, and it makes sense, it's two pieces that fit together perfectly. He became very upset because she offended his bhakt, and he says, why should I, visit her house again? That's what he did, and that's what this bhajan is about. The second bhajan he sings is Mara Balaji Subala Pradisere Teno Sangarshid Tajiye Te Vina Kene Bajiye.
Mara Balaji Subala Pradisere Teno Sangarshid Tajiye Devina kene bajiye, Mara Balati Subhaga Bajiye, Teno Sanga Sida Bajiye, Devina kene bajiye, Tanamur Jata